Culture Kids, welcome to the show. We are a family podcast dedicated to empowering a generation of kind and empathetic creators and citizens of the world. Today, we have Miss Carol McCloud on our show, who is a children's book author known for her beloved series, Bucket Fillers, which promotes empathy, kindness, and community building.
Hello, hello! My name is Asher, and I'm your host along with my mom, Kristen.
Before we meet Miss Carol, let's jump into our shout-outs. We want to say thank you for for leaving us a 5-star review. They said, I love so much the values this podcast teaches children. As an arts and humanities school teacher, I'm always looking for creative new media to get my students engaged as global citizens. This podcast is inspiring so many ideas for my teaching, and I'll likely be including it as a regular part of the curriculum school next year.
Wow, thank you.
Awesome.
And we want to say a big happy birthday to Latoya from the UK. Latoya is turning 8 years old, and she wants to travel to New York City someday.
Happy birthday!
Grown-ups, please leave us a 5-star rating so we can give you a special shout-out. Email us at anytime at hello@culturekidsmedia.com.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, now let's meet our guest. Here comes Miss Carol McCloud.
Welcome to the show.
Hello, Kristen and Asher and Culture Kids and all of you bucket fillers. I'm so excited to be able to talk to you today.
Thank you so much for being here.
Can you tell us about yourself?
I am Carol McCloud, and I am honored to be here today. I am also known as the Bucket Lady, and sometimes when I run into children who've seen me in their schools, they will come up to me and they say, "Are you the Bucket Lady?" And I'll say, "Oh, I guess I am, because I'm always talking about buckets."
And that's because you wrote many books about filling buckets. Can you first tell us why you wanted to write a book about filling buckets? Like, it's not about, filling sand inside a bucket. No! It's like an invisible bucket.
Well, I actually heard about bucket filling many years ago when I was a teacher, and I was at a teacher's conference. And the conference was talking about these orphans. And, I'd like you to imagine that you were a baby and you didn't have anyone to take care of you, that no one held you or rocked you or kissed you or snuggled you. And there were a number of children that never had that happen when they were babies. And the doctors who were leading this session, they told us teachers, they said their little buckets were never filled.
Oh, that's sad.
And I heard that as a teacher, and they said, teachers and parents, your primary job is to fill these little babies' buckets. And then when they get old enough, because they've had their buckets filled, then they can be bucket fillers too. And I just took that back to my classroom, and my little children, they just loved the idea that they could be bucket fillers. And every day we talked about whose buckets we could fill. And we had the happiest, most fun year that I ever remember having. And it's only because that simple little idea of being a bucket filler made them so happy.
We love this story so much. And now, years later, the book has changed the way educators and parents around the world teach their children about what it means to be kind to yourself, to our friends, our community, and even our planet.
And to help people feel like they're included and they belong.
Yes, that is true.
Could you tell us what an invisible bucket is? I read the book so many times, but for our friends that have not read the book yet.
You see, normally when you see a person, you see the outside of a person. You see their head and their face and their clothes and their body. And while that's important, the most important part of that person is really invisible.
Meaning you can't see it with your eyes. Like feelings.
Yeah. And we call it a bucket, but it holds all of your thoughts and feelings. And so you can't see it with your eyes, but sometimes you can imagine how full or happy their bucket is, or how empty and sad their bucket is. But everyone has one. We're all born with these invisible buckets.
Everyone? Even grown-ups and babies?
Yep, everyone has an invisible bucket.
And our buckets are even more important than our bodies because they affect our bodies. So sometimes the most important part of a person is really the invisible parts that you can't see. And the bucket is the most important part of every single person.
Why does our invisible bucket affect our bodies? Like, can it make us healthy or strong?
Yeah!
So when our invisible buckets are full, we might feel energetic, smile more, and even feel stronger and stand taller. But if our buckets are empty or we're treated badly, we might feel tired, have a sad face, or even get sick because our bodies feel the sadness or stress.
Oh, that's true.
And how all you have to do is get up every day and ask yourself that, question, how can I fill a bucket today? Or whose bucket can I fill today? And when I start my day like that, I always have a better day.
So could you also describe some of the feelings that we might have when our buckets are empty?
When our bucket's empty, we're angry at people. We're mean to people because we're so desperate to have our bucket filled and we don't know how to do it.
Ugh.
You can see it in the way people look on their faces. You can see it in the way that they walk. You can see it in the way that they talk.
Yeah, like I'm on alone time when my bucket is empty. Mommy likes to give hugs.
Yup, every person is different, and for some people, when their bucket is empty, they like to be alone. Or for some others, talking about it makes them feel better.
And when my bucket is empty, I usually let the people around me and my family know. I'll say, my bucket is really empty today. It helps them understand that, I'm having a hard time today. And I think that's a good thing to share. And it gives us an opportunity to kind of talk about really important things.
And could you share with us what we can do to fill other people's buckets?
Yay.
I think sometimes if we just notice the people around us, I think that's a really good thing to do. And when you do that, it gives you the ability to actually empathize with what they might be feeling because you can kind of see it.
Or just sitting with them. Just showing them that you care.
Exactly. And also, if you see a friend at school who is sitting by themselves during lunch, you can ask them to sit with you. Or maybe a friend looks frustrated because they just lost a game.
Ugh. Yeah, that's hard because it's not fun to lose. I just like winning the game.
In games, you sometimes have something that's called a winner and a loser. But the truth of it is, if we did our best, we are all winners. And nobody is always going to win all the time. So we have to accept the fact that games have winners and losers. But just by playing the game and participating, and the most important thing is that you tried hard, you put a great effort into it, and you did your best.
Thank you for sharing this. And let's say you won the game and you feel very happy and proud, but your other teammates didn't win and look sad or upset. You can show good sportsmanship by saying things like, "You did a great job. We can try again next time." The best part about bucket filling is that you have the chance to fill the buckets in almost any situation for every person.
Oh, like saying hi to the bus driver. That's in the book.
Thank you, Asher.
Or maybe at school, you see your school janitor working very hard. You can ask how their day is going and watch as their faces light up.
I can do that.
Yes, you can. And to our Culture Kids families, what can you do right now to fill the bucket of the person that is next to you this very moment? So an important part of bucket filling is that sometimes we might think that we can fill our bucket by dipping into other people's buckets.
Oh no.
Could you explain more about this?
Just like I said, everyone has an invisible bucket. Everyone also has an invisible dipper.
Yeah, like dipping into somebody else's bucket to take away.
And our dippers usually come out when our bucket is not full. And sometimes it just comes out and we don't even know that it's coming out, like when our bucket is empty and we're mad or we're sad. All human beings are challenged with that.
That is true. Bucket dipping can also be making fun of somebody, ignoring them, or sometimes bullying.
And that just empties your own bucket.
Yes, I think that is something very important that we all have to remember. It does not fill your bucket to dip into someone else's bucket.
I would like everyone to understand this, and that is that we are not bucket dippers.
No.
That is not who we are. We are bucket fillers, but we all dip once in a while. Sometimes the things we say and do aren't very nice. And when we recognize that and we know that we dipped in someone's bucket, we always have a chance to apologize and say we're sorry.
Yeah, sometimes when friends take my toys and they break, I get really angry.
Yes, I'm sure we can all understand that feeling. And it's important in those moments that dipping into that person's bucket won't fix the toy, and it might just empty our buckets even more. Instead, we can focus on finding ways to solve the problem, like talking it out, as Miss Carol mentioned.
Sometimes that means pause and take a deep breath, but we practice and we get better, like anything.
So how do people fill their own bucket? So we don't use our dippers to dip into other people's buckets.
I think that is a very important question. In order to fill the buckets of our friends, school, and community, we first have to make sure that our own buckets are full too. Miss Carol, could you tell us more about this?
I mean, we fill our buckets by doing the things that we love to do and that are good for us. I mean, so I think every day I try to do something that I love to do.
Asher, what do you enjoy doing?
I like playing soccer, and I like Pokemon cards, and playing with Arden. Oh, and telling jokes.
Those are wonderful things that you can do to fill your own bucket. Finding hobbies like listening to music, or in my case, practicing yoga, or even silly things like collecting fun socks. I don't know why, but that fills my bucket.
Every morning, my husband and I go for a walk because there's no children in our home now. And I look at the trees and I hear the birds and we walk by the lake. And the other day we were just flying a kite. I hadn't flown a kite in so long, and it was just so much fun to watch the kite up there. And those are things that fill your bucket.
What about babies or little kids? How do they fill their little teeny tiny buckets?
You know, when we're little babies and toddlers, we depend on other people to fill our buckets. We can't do it on our own. But as soon as we get to be 3 and 4 years old, the things we love to do, we find time to do them. Even moms and dads, you have to find the things that you like to do that bring you joy, and you work together to find that time.
Mommy plays the piano sometimes, and it makes her happy.
It sure does. And that is one of many things that fills my bucket every day. And here at Culture Kids, we believe that creating new friendships with families and celebrating their traditions, foods, cultural holidays helps to fill not just our own buckets, but the bucket of the whole world. So as we talked about, our buckets are not truly full unless we fill the buckets of our family, friends, and community too. Could you tell us more about this and why it's important to our overall community?
Yes, you can fill your own when you do good things and you accomplish things, and that's doing it for yourself. But when you do it for someone else, at least 2 people and many more feel good from that experience, and it makes you so much happier.
So much happier?
You can feel it inside of you, like you get warm inside and you feel good when you have done something to fill someone's bucket. And it makes you a proud and a happy person when you can live like that.
Bucket filling is contagious, like a good virus.
That is exactly right.
But why is it important to spread it? Like, can't everyone just fill their own bucket?
That is a really great question. We actually pick up good things, good vibrations, good feelings from others, and we share them, and then they explode. It's like this big ripple effect. But it's a good ripple effect. It's a ripple effect that makes everyone feel good. And that's why we learn in schools and why we have friends to play with, because it makes everything we would do alone even better if we're bucket fillers. You have better families, you have better communities, better schools, and everyone wants to be a part of that.
That's true. Think of a birthday party. It's never fun to celebrate your birthday all by yourself.
Oh yeah, I like having my family and some friends at my birthday party. I don't want to celebrate it all by myself.
Yeah, me too. It's the same idea with bucket filling. When we take time to fill other people's buckets, we all become much happier and stronger together as a classroom, school, and community, and of course, as a family.
And every day you should ask yourself, did I fill my bucket today? Did I fill someone else's bucket today? And if the answer to those two questions is yes, you've had a really good day.
So fill your own bucket and fill the buckets of others around you. That's how you make it contagious to the whole world, so everyone will be happier.
So, Miss Carol, before you go, could you tell us how many books you've written about this topic and the impact it had on families and schools everywhere?
Yes, my first book, Have You Filled a Bucket Today, is definitely our flagship book. I have 10 other books that are also available, but everything from a baby and the baby's bucket book all the way through growing up with a bucket full of happiness, which is for upper elementary and middle school students. And now I'm currently working on the adult book because, sad to say, many adults don't know about bucket filling yet.
Cool, bucket filling for grown-ups. Yeah!
So, and our first book has sold over 2 million copies, and it's in 14 languages all around the world. It's a message that resonates with just every culture. You know, I've received thousands of letters from children around the world about what it means to them.
Thank you for sharing that. And that's because showing kindness and empathy to fill the buckets of every person is like a secret language that we all share in every country and every culture.
Just as Culture Kids podcast makes a positive difference in life, so we're all working together to really make it a better world and help kids grow into caring and responsible, happy adults.
Thank you, Miss Carol. And could you tell us where grown-ups can buy your books?
The bucket filling books are available through my wonderful publisher, and she is at cardinalrulepress.com, or they're available in all bookstores. The bucket filling website is bucketfillers101.com. And it gives a little bit about our history, and it has free downloadables and teach more about the happiness rules of bucket filling.
Thank you, Miss Carol. I hope you come back soon.
Well, goodbye, friends. Goodbye, Asher and Kristen and all you culture kids. And I want to tell you, parents and teachers, you are the rock stars. You are the ones that do the 24/7. So thank you for all you do, because your work and your life is so important in raising this generation of kids. So thank you.
And to our Culture Kids family, what fills your bucket? How about you and your grown-ups take the time today to write down all the things that fill your own bucket? And then let's explore all the fun ways you can fill the buckets of the people around you, your classroom, teachers, and your community. And thank you for filling our Culture Kids community bucket just by being here and just for being you. Wherever you are in the world, what you do every day is important, and you make the world a special and a happier place just by being in it. And always remember, here at Culture Kids, you and your family are welcomed, included, and celebrated for exactly who you are.
Let's go fill some buckets.
See you next week.
Mamma Mia, joke time! You can go first.
Cool. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Bean.
Being who?
Been a while since I saw you.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah, that's a fun one. Okay, your turn.
Why don't you tell secrets in a cornfield?
Why?
Because there's too many ears.
I get it, like ear of a corn.
Yeah, but like so many ears like on your head.
Thanks for joining us today. Please don't forget to subscribe so you can hop on our culture train and join us on more trips around the world. If you'd like to support the work that we do, please visit culturekidsmedia.com or email us at hello@culturekidsmedia.com. And of course, leave us a 5-star rating. And now, we're going to end with Asher giving you the longest goodbye you may ever hear on a podcast again. Okay, Asher, you can go. Bye-bye.